Hey everybody, Everett's Live Music, just doing a shout out today, following up the last one. Just wanted to exemplify the need for us to get together, discuss, share with one another, in a way that we're not so sensitive to other people's feelings about situations. And if you watch my last video, maybe I would hope maybe sometimes you fact check. If you did, maybe you'd say like in 1970 there was only 20 million people from the United States, but there was 23, I said on the video. But the importance of it would be, in order for us to move forward into more of a progressive form of a conversation, maybe like that year also it was 44 million or more, over 40 million people watched the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And it's not like we're against that. It's just the publicity and the awareness it has brought to the table on that kind of thing. And then, you move to 1990 and there's 141 countries by then that were all joined together in this Earth Day. And now there's 190 or more. And what I'm trying to say also today is please make a comment back, because that's what we need. We need the conversation to go back and forth, comments to, you know what I mean? And if you find something, we can't be sensitive to one another. It's not all about being right all the time, but try to keep the conversation going through the comments. And don't be sensitive with me, because if you don't like my material, if you think it's too long, did I spend too much time on this? Maybe the last video too, you'd say I conflict with the idea of the size of North America when you say trees, and I would say okay, well, you might be right, but there's 2 billion hectares missing from the planet. There used to be around 6 billion hectares of trees on the planet, and it depends on how you measure it too. But if that's something you could get caught up with, then don't be sensitive with me. Shoot something back. That's great that we correct one another. What we want to do is keep the conversation going. It's so important, and to let each other know how we can move into the next level of it. A lot of this, I think, is just with the technology we have, we can cross-reference, and unless we're writing papers, reporting, journalists, whatever we're doing though, as long as we're thinking, right? We're thinking of a way to connect with another human being, whether it's through humor or whether it's through facts. If we just keep it all factual, we might as well be the computer. I withdrew a comment recently, a guy's wearing a shirt and it says, "Ask me politely." Well, I put a little comment in there, humor about Shrek or something, I'm Donkey, because I don't know as much about that, but I took the comment off and I kept a polite comment. I don't know if it's even offensive. I would hope that's not, but it could be. So, but with me, if that is the case, or if you come to my direction, just be open, dude. I'm for the humor. I'm for us just keeping a conversation going. And I'll try to comment back. Some people, maybe they're really busy and they don't have time to. All I'm saying is to one degree or another, on that last message, it was a lot longer, is we're trying to get conversations going no matter how we can. And for this one here, I'm going to cut it short, because I'd rather have you just watch something short and say, dude, you're this or that, or it's however you might want to look at it. But would you like to hear more? Or put something in the comment of what you want to know about. But today, something that struck a chord in me today when looking at information, and was 38% to 50% of the science community believes that artificial intelligence will be or can be an existential threat to humanity. And they believe that on a percentage of 10% or a little less, down to 5%. But it's still, that sounds like a lot, right? And when 99% of our scientists have said that they believe climate change was a problem for so many years, you know what I mean? From back in the 70s when it was less to the majority, vast majority, you have the full weight of the science community behind you now, and we are still not making the changes necessary. So when you see these patterns happen, or if you believe as well as I do, you know, that's something to think about. That's a lot of the science community. If you do not have the majority of the science community, and if you're to ask your own Google Chat GPT like I did yesterday, or you could watch the Bernie Sanders with Claude interview, but just ask your Google, what is it going to do to us? What is it? Ask it a bunch of questions. I did yesterday, and I'm finding out that it is not going to be necessarily beneficial to us as humans, to life on the planet, not just us, but the vast amount of resources and energy, and it will admit it to you. And keep in mind, too, the robots that are coming with it. So anyways, I'm going to cut this short today, and then just if there's anything we could discover more together, because we're all scientists, when we start thinking and questioning and looking for answers. And if we're not encouraged by some of the channels and some of the people by answering our questions or inviting us back in, we don't always know how it's best, but I'm not a vulgar language guy. I'm not an aggressive. But however we can connect, I would hope that we find that way with one another so we can try to build a better future for, our children and generations and life on the planet. Our today is for their tomorrow. For those that have yet to come to be, they're going to learn, they're going to find out, they're going to know, they're going to see if our today was for their tomorrow. So the more we can get together, connect, ask questions, let each other know, how you feel about what the information we're sharing with one another. And I'm not sensitive, but let's look at some of this stuff and share. And we need more of it within our communities. Even on the last channel too, when I said stripping the farmers' fields and stuff, maybe you could have said you could add a comment, hey man, what about the microbial matter that's in the soil that we destroy through the level of farming that we do, where we strip the soil, right? The microbes. And it's in a song of mine where you pick it up, you hold it in your hand, life like dirt. And when you look at it, one handful of dirt has billions of microbes in it, of the building blocks of life. So just stressing out today or exemplifying the idea that we need to communicate better. I don't know exactly how it happens for all of us. I try at the park and in my little local area, and I have given classes in the schools where I am in the Southwest, and tried for years to exemplify an idea of need for conservancy for water. So the more we do this, the more we keep the conversation going, and we try, at least we'll be able to say, we tried to keep it going. We tried to make one another aware. And when we don't understand, just say, I don't understand. And then maybe we hit the ball back and forth, as long as we're not looking to write some collegiate paper here. And even then, we're like journalists as well, all of us. And that's beautiful about us. We need to scrutinize. We need to question. We need to feel comfortable with that we can ask each other over and over again, and sometimes that's what we need. We need that connection in order to make the change. So, hey, peace out.